you guys got something special. This is a 10 mil mastery without me. The lads took over the mic, took over the topics, and jammed out without me. This is how I want to see this community grow. Mechanics talking about the shop floor, discussing the topics that need to be discussed so that you guys can do better, live happier, live healthier, more productive lives. This is why I started the show. Today, passwords, videos, heat, pressure, and leadership. Keep watching. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Click that share button. Please, please share this with mechanics who need to hear it. This is Wrench Turners Podcast. This is 10 Mil Mastery.
All right, JB. Hit us with the opening prayer before we get ripping.
Let's run it up, boys. All right, let's get it. Dear God, thank you for bringing us here together. All of us fine gentlemen. Help us to gather in your name amongst other names. When we get together, great things happen, especially with you, Lord. Help us to be impeccable with our word and to impact as many lives as possible through Christ our Lord. Amen. Let's get it on. Come on, boys.
Get it. Amen. I guess we'll run down the thing. Let's see here. We were kind of talking about some topics, and nothing really jumped out at anybody, I don't think, because nobody really said anything in particular. But we was talking about like all of the technology that it takes to kind of do our jobs and just how jacked up it really can get. I don't know about you guys, like Richard and Josh. I know like on the heavy duty side, like our softwares is pretty legit, but they're still like heavy internet based. And then you've got like a million credentials that we have to remember. Like I think I probably have 10 passwords, logins and passwords. Some of them are full phrases, they change every 30 days, this, that, and the other, So what is that the same? Is that similar, Richard, for kind of like what you run into in your day to day?
Yeah, I think GM's is every like 60 or 90 days, you got to reset your password, and it's got to be like 15 or 16 characters long now with, uppercase and lowercase and symbols and numbers. And it's just, and then, yeah, 2FA that's all federally mandated now. So there's really nothing you can do about it. But I found out the hard way that if you use an authenticator app and then decide to switch phones and not transfer your phone over, you get locked out of your account.
Screwed.
Yeah.
Do you guys have to do that a lot with the old Subies there, Josh A?
They just started making us do it. Toyota switched a long time ago, but yeah, Subaru just switched in their normal fashion, a couple years behind everybody else.
What about
Very
the boat?
thankful that the passwords don't rotate on our accounts like the GM ones did. A lot of us run the same passwords, which is funny.
The
So
boat
it's
industry
like
is super secure.
so secure, and it's like the
It's-
doofiest ones also.
It's probably like boat 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, straight up, bro. Like the year, whatever it is.
Dude, speaking
Well,
of boats, like,
do they,
dude,
like-
I would die if I owned a boat and it was just like some outboards and the dude rolled up and pulled out his laptop and hooked up to my outboard. I would be like, bro, no shot.
What do you mean?
Dude, I seen
That's
the
what it
other
would be,
day-
though. There's no OBD2 port on that. You're hooking directly to the computers, right?
I
The
know.
late model ones, yeah. Yeah, majority of them actually do have it. Yamaha has it, Mercury has it, Suzuki has it. I think back to like maybe 14 or in that area. And then the smaller horsepower ones, two strokers, that's obviously standalone. But most of the later stuff does. Thank God for Brent in that jaw test. It hooks up
Yeah.
to everything, bro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it without it. Shout out to that jaw test.
Are
Yeah.
boat keys
Have you
chipped
been
yet, or is
using
it
it a lot
just
now
still?
lately or no?
It's funny. I carry it everywhere, but I don't get to use it. But Yamaha, I just ran out on we lost our medallion or whatever we call it. We didn't sell enough motors. So I got locked out on their platform. So anytime I get a Yamaha, I start tapping into the jaw test. What were you saying, Rich?
Are they just standard keys still, or are they running chip keys finally?
Some of them do have, I know Volvos have that. They'll have that wireless key. A lot of them are key ignition. It's funny, if you want to use the pad or whatever sensor you want to do, you still have the key in the cabin. So you'll see in the cabin like 4 keys hanging, just like not on the helm though. Outside on the helm, there's no keys, and that'll be a fob. But you still have to go in there and each like 4 engines, turn them on, 5 engines. But the later ones, like if you just hit one button on the handle, you'll hear like 4, 5, 6 of them light up. in a row in a sequence is pretty badass, actually.
Yeah. You have to get us a video of that. That sounds sick.
Yeah, yeah, I was loving that. But the last time I went to the Yamaha and my jaw test failed, I was like, this is not happening right now, man. Like
Yeah.
the one Yamaha job I got, literally praying to God. He got me through it.
Yeah.
He gets me through a lot.
Dude,
But yeah, that's a whole
man.
nother platform. That's a platform on top of a platform. That little laptop has so many different things. You know, I took the dealer for granted, I think, because when your blinders on, like GM, it's amazing. You don't have to worry about the MDI, that software, and you're using everything's on GDS now. I don't know if anything's changed since I'm gone, but it's just one access to everything. Parts, everything. Diag is one source. Now it's like infinite, and it's nuts. And to produce on that is crazy. And the amount of systems on top of systems relies so much on photos, documentation. I got platforms for days across and tracking communication with customers. It's too much. I need to get it to one, but it's a sizable investment. You know that.
So GM, what was it? It's TLC now, Techline Connect, which has GDS2, SPS was built into it. You still have access to SI, but they pulled SI out of it. So now when you click the SI button, it launches in a web page now. It used to be built in, and then if you open more than 3 tabs, it would crash the whole program. It's horrible now, dude. Like you can't, if the server for TLC is down, you're not doing anything. You can scan for codes, but you can't program anything. You can't flash anything. Like there's no access to anything. It felt more stable when you had when you run TIS to web, right? And you had all your programs separate. It felt way more stable than what it does now. And it's a big pain point for a lot of technicians. And the fact that it updates every Monday morning and you have no option of opting out. So the first thing you do in the morning is you clock in your computer, you fire up Techline Connect and let it do its thing, because half the time you go to load your update and it crashes.
Didn't matter what time zone you're on. I remember Eastern was good in the morning.
No,
but like as the day progressed, everybody
Yeah.
on the entire country was on it.
Well, yeah. So like I'll come in the morning and like I'll log on right away on Monday mornings and look at the GM tech forum and just see what kind of problems guys are having. Cause it'll be like, oh great, this is what we're in for, because they've installed it and it's crashed out on vehicles or bricked modules. And it's just, yeah, the support on that side is not the greatest. And I think
so. When your guys' modules get bricked, are they recoverable?
Yes and no. GM actually released a bulletin here that said, before we replace any module now, we are to attempt to program it, which will try and recover the module. And then if it recovers, you don't replace the module. You say, okay, it's fixed, Mr. Customer. You're good to go. And then the customer comes and gets it and they go to start the vehicle and their instrument cluster won't turn on.
You can go far back in it's not just a reprogram. You go to replace and program, right? It's like kind of doing a bootstrap.
Yeah, you can still attempt to recover brick modules, but I would say once a module is brick, like if you try to attempt to program and it fails the programming and bricks the module, you got like a 50-50 chance of recovering it.
You got an oil change with a recall and you're not taking the car home.
No, sorry, dude. Here's your keys for your rental.
That's what I tell people with their updates. They're like, when I'm troubleshooting it or they're on the water, they're like, I got this update here. I was like, do not do that. Absolutely don't do that. While you're out with your family, I was like, that will ruin your day. Like if that thing gets stuck, you'll be dead stick in the water.
You guys doing a lot of updates, Josh?
Well, Subaru's never really been update heavy. They're in their own lane on things. I mean, we have 2 transmission, 2 engines. They just do their Subaru things and people love them.
Yeah.
I know you like them.
Yeah. I like the all-wheel drive. I'll tell you what, Josh, they got all-wheel drive figured out.
Yeah, they'd figured it out about 80 years ago.
And they haven't skipped a beat since. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do they use the same transfer case they've been using for 900 years?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think it's changed. I mean, it's probably got same parts and everything.
Because like, do they fail very often? Like, what's a failure rate on those? Do you get like 60, 70,000 miles out of one? You get
anytime they go to Jiffy Lube, get an oil change, drain out the transfer case, you know, it's second after that happens, it seems to fail randomly. Other than that, pretty good.
Interesting. I've never seen one bad. I've never known anybody that had one go bad. Like
the diffs will only go bad if somebody is doing stupid crap to it, or it goes to Jiffy Lube.
Like modding it, or
those
things are pretty that hard.
They do
Yeah.
They do well. They do well, but you can still break them if you really try. But I have seen so few failures on those.
Didn't
my
they run
favorite
a
style.
Didn't they run a viscous coupler in for a few years, and that was a
Yeah.
pile of garbage?
I don't know if I call it pile of garbage. It
That
was
was
like
old technology though, right? Like
yeah.
the
I mean,
old one.
I don't know. Honestly, the times those cars fail most are from people and influence. If you leave it stock, they usually don't have any problems.
Yeah. My favorite was the STI, how you could control the
Diff
how
locker.
much. Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. I don't know if they still do it. You guys had the intercooler spray. You had a bunch of sick mods right out the gate.
Yeah, dude, the water spray on
Sprayer.
the
Yeah.
X. Yeah, that was sick.
That was
Yeah.
peak. That was peak Subaru rally racing.
Yeah.
What DMS are you guys on? We're going back to talking to the DMS never changes passwords, right? That's something that's just smart. You guys have to change those too?
No, we don't log in that way. We log in through our Google account. It's all tied together.
So that's got to chain, right?
That's the way my new company is, but my old company was not like that. And our DMS, it would change auto. Like you'd go to log in one day and it would say you got 7 days till your password expires, and then you just add a new number at the end. You would just change it and it'd start with 1, and it'd be, I don't know, Peterbilt 1, and then it'd be Peterbilt 2, and then Peterbilt 3. You just keep going up. Next thing you know, Peterbilt 55.
You guys have to use photos
What do you mean by photos?
before and after
Yeah.
before and after repairs?
Photos and video.
Is that a dealer thing, Rich, or is that your DMS?
It's a dealer specific thing, but General Motors is pushing heavy for videos now. They did I can't remember what the release was, but it was actually in February. No, that's when it was. It was like the last week of February, first week of March. We were pushing, like when I came on, they were doing videos hit or miss. And now I would say I'm sitting at 80% of my lube bay is hitting videos. And then from there, GM
Upsell
actually
videos.
hey?
Upsell videos, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So GM released a document stating that they're going to be pushing for dealership involvement with videos, because I mean, up here you can go to a Jiffy Lube and get a video on your car, and it's just, we were falling behind the wayside on that. So we do videos. Anytime a lube rack has a vehicle on it, it gets a video. Even if there's nothing wrong with the vehicle, customer still gets a video. My technicians, all the used cars, they all get videos before we get any approvals. That way then customer can't come and look at the vehicle and go, this scratch wasn't there, before I took it for the weekend or something like that. So we do a lot of video, heavy video, a lot of photos, especially warranty.
Yeah.
Anything that's a warrantable concern gets a photo.
I was going to
Has to
say,
get
like,
submitted for approval or
Yeah.
no? Really?
Yeah, depending upon what the repair is, it's one of 3 people that can sign off, or one of 3 or 4 people that can sign off on it. One's a warranty clerk, one's me, one's my assistant service manager, and one's my service manager. So we're the only ones that can actually say, yeah, deem that a warrantable leak, and can get either the line added or get the customer.
Why got to be a leak though? Why has it got to be a leak though?
Has to be. Can't be
That's
seepage.
the highest one that gets smoked, man.
Yeah, we had to do, like, mainly our electrical stuff had a lot of was real picture heavy. Like, I noticed, like, when we would do an electrical repair under warranty, we had to take a picture of the failure and a picture of the repair, and then, like, a picture of it, like, all covered up and mounted or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
We don't have to do that.
yeah, we had to do that, and then we had like a wiring checklist that we had to fill out, which had, like, kind of like the circuit number and all of that that you tested, what your measurements were. And then there for a while, I kept having these ones come back on the back end from warranty that were like oil pans that were cracked, and they'd want a picture of the crack. So I started taking a lot of pictures of stuff like that.
You took a picture of your crack.
Yeah, dude, and you can't hardly see the little crack, right? It'd be just like a tiny crack, So
Porous one.
what I would do is clean it up really good, and then take a paint marker and then trace the crack out, and then take that picture.
Yeah.
And usually that got me covered. But I think one of them was a chargeback because I didn't even have the oil pan anymore. Like, what am I supposed to do? They asked for a picture of the oil pan 2 months later. It's like, bro.
All
Yeah, they
repairs.
only got 30. No. So when our RO closes, GM can call for that part for up to 15 days after the RO closes. Or once warranty pays on it, they can hold we have to hold the part for 15 days. So 2 weeks basically. And if they don't call for it within that
That's not
period of time,
bad.
it gets tossed.
I thought it was longer.
Yeah, it used to be
Ours is
30 days.
90.
It used
Yeah,
to be
maybe they
60 days,
streamlined
and
it
then
to
it was
made it.
30,
Yeah.
and now it's 15.
Yeah, dude, we had this whole rack, like this whole basically the size of a bay. That was just all warranty racks with like all the parts in it, and they had numbers on it, and the last number was the last digit of the RO, and it was just crap stacked everywhere, bro.
We use Google Drive for photos.
Yeah, yeah.
Another platform. So you got
With
your
the login.
DMS, yeah. And there's a work Google Drive and your personal Google Drive. And once them bitches are together,
You
you're
guys
never
probably
getting them
don't
apart.
have it.
You're never
You
getting
guys
them
probably
apart.
don't have as you guys probably don't have as much of an issue with it, but like for me in the field, I work off of VPNs all day long
So it
off a
restricts you from
hotspot.
doing shit like that.
Yeah, like sometimes like I have to work on a hotspot and then log into a VPN and then, which when you're on a VPN, it drags a lot of your speed down, it seems like. And so, that's an issue. And then sometimes I always have to have two ways to get a hotspot. So I would use my phone as a hotspot. Then I also had a company provided hotspot. And at my last company, the truck had a hotspot on it because it was a Ford and we had the hotspot through the truck. So I had a Ford hotspot, I had a regular hotspot from the company, and then I had my phone as a hotspot. And sometimes I have to try all three just to get internet that's good enough to download an update that I need to put on an ECM or whatever. That's stuff's wild, man. And I noticed like in automotive, since they're really trying to get big into the the field service stuff, and they're really leaning towards a lot of the like quick update recall stuff. I'm like, bro, like it's literally the worst part about being in field service is doing mobile updates, like, software stuff. Like this, the crappiest part.
It'd be
So,
it'd be interesting to get from like one of the guys on SDL to find out what the requirements are, because you should see because GM has internet requirements for like your
Mhm.
dealership,
right.
and it's nuts. Like, so you
Hardware
have
too.
basic minimums, computer standards of what
Mhm.
the computer has to be. The funny
I
thing
hate
is, if
that
it's
so
not
much.
within that standard, if it's not within that standard, and you get a hold of technical assistance to get help with the vehicle,
If you don't
they'll
have it,
yeah, they'll remote to your computer, and if it's not up to snuff, they say, "Call us back when you got a good enough computer," and they hang
Oh
the
my
phone up.
gosh.
can we drop
But
F-bombs in here? Or are we dropping?
there's like specs, like you have to have like minimum speeds and minimum upload speeds, minimum download speeds. There's a whole thing about like network infrastructure and what kind of security you got to run, what specific hardware firewalls you got to run. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All of that stuff has just got so wild because of just the technology in the cars and all of the update stuff. Dude, I noticed in my personal car the other day, my phone was hooked up to the Bluetooth and it kept disconnecting and reconnecting over and over and over and over and over and over. I'm like, bro, when it was just in getting the windshield put in, they did an update to the nav system, which is like the whole deal, the Bluetooth and all that is all in one thing. So they were in there, they did an update to that. Now that thing and then I was like, dude, this is freaking me out. So I went and it kept putting a black square up there on the whole display saying that it's disconnected from my phone. And so I was like, well, I'll just turn the Bluetooth off on my phone. That thing is somehow commanding the Bluetooth back on my phone and then trying to connect it again. I'm like, bro, so then I went on my phone. I said, try to make it forget it. And then it would somehow override that and then still connect. I'm like, bro, the AI is taking over. Skynet is attacking right now.
Once you can't have a regular phone anymore. You
No,
can't
no, dude.
have no way. I went into the boat side with like an iPhone 8 or something like that. A decent amount of memory, but you need to be D'd up. You have to have a quality battery and you got to have some serious memory. And if you're in the field, forget it, man. That stuff is like essential. You got to be able to have a hotspot off your phone. Like you have to have that stuff. And as soon as I caught
And a
that, I was like,
powerful
all
one.
right, time to upgrade. I was like, this is costing me money having a lower model phone. So that was like a straight up asset. As soon as I did that, it was another tool in the box. Essential tools.
Well, so what we do, because like that's a big thing. All the guys were saying, well, if I'm going to use my phone, you need to supply one. And we were like, no, like you guys are on your phones all day. You're other than like, your you're texting your girlfriend, you're texting your wife, you're doing everything you can, you're doing this and this and this. We're like, you guys are on your phones all the time. So what we did was in Canada, you can claim additional expenses that you incur as an employee to claim on your taxes. So we signed off on all of them. We're like, no, here you go.
Yeah, no.
Claim a percentage of your phone bill on your taxes and get that extra money back at tax time.
Yeah, each
Does that
person
bring it
on the
down from
phone.
like 50% to like 49%?
No, it's still like, yeah, you get a percentage back, but it's negligible, right? It brings you from like 50% to 49.9.
Hey, there we go.
We have a shop phone, and I think it's like a 12 Pro Max or something like that. It was the highest one at the time. And that's since we do international also, it's got all the data. It's got plan. You can call from anywhere in the world. And that's like what everybody does the business with. Like, so if someone's like, oh, my phone's up, I'm like, here, take this thing, take this on site, use your hotspot, use all that stuff with it. It's got a badass case, like a friggin' Pelican case. You need that. Give it to the captains. The captains are using it for depths, all crazy stuff, navigating all that.
So let's change gears. So I just noticed like it's not like a lack of like effort on the new guys, the young hands, but something that I've been running into is like you're just, and I don't know if it's really even a stamina thing, or maybe it's mental toughness, but the young hands, it's like, you'll be working with them for a while and they really kind of, they'll hit like a 6 hour wall where like they just slowly start petering down slower and slower and slower. And it's kind of a thing that I've been kind of noticing. And maybe it's just always been there and I just never really keyed in on it as much as I recently have. But it's something that I've been noticing, and it's something that I want to try to help inspire them, because I don't know if they need to know how far they can push themselves, or what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like right now it's just kind of like trying to inspire them in the moment when I notice that they're starting to, fall off. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your take on it?
Like when you visually catch, but
Yeah, it's like you visually notice that like we're working together, right? And you visually see that like this is a person that like at the first half of the day, dude, they're killing the game. They're working their butts off, right, for you. And then you just notice that they're just really, I'm like, dude, do you need to eat, or like what's going on? Like,
yeah,
what do you
that
need
gets
from me?
neglected. That could easily be that. I'll see it with the heat.
Yeah.
The morning you do your best work. In human nature, the productivity of the first half of the day is the best form of work you're going to get out of any human. Now,
Right.
if you're neglecting hydration, temperature, taking a break, if you're just like an old head, or you see the bay mate, someone next to you going balls to the wall right through it, and you
Yeah.
do that, and not caring about your body or anything that goes with it, you don't notice it until the later years, so the younger ones, but they wear it on their shoulder. Like you'll see it come out in frustration, you'll see it come out and like kind of just missing stuff, or they might snap on someone real quick, like yo. So I've noticed that. It's funny you say that, because now I'll pay more attention to the time of day when it
Yeah.
happens.
I
I
mean,
will
like,
definitely start doing that, because that could easily be, bro,
yeah.
get some,
Yeah. And I don't
everybody's
know.
highly caffeinated in the morning,
Yeah, that's the other thing is, like, everybody comes in with 3 energy drinks and
energy
they've got,
drinks.
that
Yeah,
maybe
bro.
it's a crash out moment, but,
Yep.
like, I just noticed it a lot lately, and it's just, like, something, I know Josh works with, I mean, everybody here works with some young cats, and maybe y'all have something to say about it too,
I'll
but, like,
try to get it, and I'll try to pull them away from what they're doing.
right, try to change
Stop.
them up or something.
Stop. Like try it, or I'll talk to them and say, hey, if you get that way, but they don't ever count it on themselves. They just kind of go into that,
You
you
seen
know.
any of that, Josh?
I don't know. I think it's just that a different way of work. I think they work at their own pace for a lot of it. But I've also noticed that they're not willing to burn themselves out as much as some of
Yeah.
the other guys would. Like, I guess I kind of caught the middle of the transition, but the difference between the couple of generations was that one will like work themselves to death. And then this new generation, they're a lot more conservative when it comes to it. They know, and they'll express when they are at that point. And I think that might be the difference, is that maybe you're seeing it, but also they're not willing to continue to push themselves all the way to the finish.
Well, like, I'll jump in, right? And I am aware, John, about like especially this time of year, because where we live, it's really extra hot, and Josh is probably pretty warm over there too. I am extra aware of, like, especially hydration, but, it's like and I think that's why I noticed it was because, like, I'm a little more hypersensitive of my team right now just because of the weather, but, it's just like I said, it just seems to be, like, hitting a wall of throughout the like I said, and it's like they catch a second wind and they go back at it, you know what I'm saying? It seems more like not a lack of drive or a want, right? It's just like, I don't know what it is. It's just something I've noticed in the last couple apprentices. You get, like I said, you get about 6 hours out of them, and then they start falling on their faces, but they're working
6 is
hard.
pretty good. 6 is pretty good, though, if you think about what we just talked about. Like, the first half of the day is the productive half.
Yeah,
For you to kick it back in high gear and catch that second win is, like, you gotta have a decent meal. Like, if you're eating food, you're going down. Like, if you go out and go stuff McDonald's, it's gonna drive you down, and then you're gonna have to go grab that energy drink, and, man, we could do a whole session on how this impacts your productivity and everything.
yeah,
That's one of the things that could easily set someone off. But another could just be like your environment. Who knows what that person is going through outside of the doors of the job? Who knows what kind of phone call or text or diagnosis or family or any of those other thousand million things that they have or they're going through, because they're with you the most time. So whatever's
yeah.
going on outside the wall still plays.
You definitely have to be conscious and talking, right? Like, some people are pretty private and they keep
We
that
lost
stuff to
John.
themselves.
Rip.
He said,
He hit his 6 hours and he took off.
"Yeah, heck yeah."
I think
Oh my gosh.
well, Marshall, like, that's what we talked about, but, like, the whole, remember how I was telling you I was driving the team off of car count?
Yeah,
Specifically, like, I would ask 'em at the midpoint of the day how many cars they touch, because the goal is
right.
5. We said 5 cars a day keeps the debt collector away, and so it usually about that time, just hitting them up and seeing where they're at, and if they're at 2, then they know that, hey, this back half better be where those 3 come from, and if they're
Right.
at
A
4,
strong
then they
strong finish.
can then they can continue to kinda keep going that direction, or maybe they need to take a sit down because 'cause they've been running hard.
Yeah, and it's a good touch point too, right? Like, as guys that are leading from the middle, just having a touch point with your guy is pretty important, with your team is individually, right? I think pretty invaluable because, like, when you go to one of your guys and you're like, "Hey, how many cars have you touched?" And then they're like, "Only 2," right? Then
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh god." You don't even gotta say anything after that, I
They
don't think,
know, they
'cause
know.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, we play laws. I tell them we play laws of averages, and our hours per car is 2.6. So if they're touching 5 a day, then by the law of average, we should be right where we want to be for hours. And it seems to have done well for them and help keep them on task and get them to push to the amount that they need to get the hours that they want.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. You got any little touch point stuff, Richard, that you kind of do throughout the day that's like kind of like something similar to that, where it's like you're not like physically giving your team any kind of crap, but like it's like that little reminder.
Well, so we have hours up on the board, but I mean, to your point though, a lot of what you're experiencing is because they haven't really learned how to work yet, right?
Yeah,
Like you and me can sit there in a bay and we can, you can push, same with Josh, we can push like 14, 15 hours through in an 8-hour day. But when it comes to, like, these new kids, they're seeing what the veterans can do, and they're trying to emulate it, not knowing the grime we've had to push through to get to the point that we're at.
yeah,
They just see, "Oh, Rich is in his bay, he's cranking out 12 to 15 hours a day, and I'm struggling to make 7." Like, what corners their media go to is, "What corners can I cut to get to that point?" And it's like, dude, like you haven't put your knocks in yet to be able to cut those corners. So, and I think that's where a lot of where the younger guys in my shop are like, they'll come to me and they're like, dude, I'm struggling today. And I'll be either I'm on the floor or I'm doing paperwork in my office. And if I'm on the floor, I always touch base with all the guys in the shop. Like I'll walk one side and then I cut across and I walk the other side, see how everybody's doing. If you have questions, come grab me. If you need a hand, come grab me. This is what I'm here for. I'm here for your guys' support. I'm not here just to collect a check. I'm here to make sure these guys grow. And a lot that like from there, a lot of guys, they're just like, man, I'm frustrated with this job. I'm like, hey, well, what's frustrating you? And then they start asking me, they go to like, well, what can I do to cut this time out? I'm like, how many times have you done this job? Well, this is the first time I've ever had an engine out of an Equinox or whatever. I'm like, okay, we got to start it. Baby steps, dude. You got to read through your service information front to back, all of your removal steps. Make sure you click on all those links to make sure that you're not missing anything. And he's like, well, what would you do? I'm like, this is how you start. Like
Yeah.
you need to make those steps and develop those habits. Because once you've done 2 of them, then you know what kind of corners, what you can shave, what you don't need to put a torque wrench on, right? Like what you can get a couple of ugga duggas into and know that that bolt is tight. But and then progress from there, right? So I found a lot of the guys, they hit that wall because they look to their bay mate to one side or the other, and they're a veteran tech because you always want to stagger your juniors and your
Right.
veterans in the shop. And they're seeing the veterans just flying through work, and their immediate response is, "How can I get to that point as fast as I can?" So
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
I think you touched on something too, like, there's an endurance too also, I think, that has to be built up, right? Like, they're still learning how to work, and part of that is that endurance of the work, right? 'Cause I feel like we've all worked in all kinds of different temperatures and climates and all of those things, and we've done that and had to learn all those processes like you mentioned. So it's like, we not only have the endurance to do the job, we have the all of the idiosyncrasies that come with the particular job locked in as well. And, I think you're right. That's probably a lot of what it is because, these hands are 21, 20, 21, 22 years old, where we've got twice the age on them. You know what I mean? And we've worked days where we had to work on a Saturday and work 16 hours and get that job done or whatever it was. So we have a good paycheck, and they're still trying to build that endurance. You don't go to you don't just not work out and do anything and just go run a marathon. You got to run a couple miles. You got to run a mile and then run a couple miles and then just kind of keep building it up till you get there. And I think that's what I'm seeing probably is just that endurance part of it too, you know what I mean? And then building that mental toughness that comes along
Yeah,
with
and
that.
you gotta remember if those guys are working with you, like, they're like, "Gosh, and Marshall's on site. I gotta keep up. I gotta keep up. I gotta
Yeah.
keep up," right? So and they're gonna burn out faster because you know how to pace yourself. Like, you could be reefing away on something, and you're just pulling nice and easy, and some of these guys weigh like a buck 10 soaking water,
You ain't lying, man. These
and they got both feet up on and they're just reefing away, and you reach over and grab with one arm, and you're like, "Meh, I'm
yeah,
good."
you hit it with that old man strength, man. Yeah, you're not wrong because like the last handful that I've got has been skinny as a rail. And that's funny that you say that because literally probably the last handful I got has been skinny as a rail. Not in a not a it's a good thing to be a skinny guy in my industry because you can climb in about just about anywhere and heavy duty, you know what I mean? You can get in there and get some of that stuff, but it definitely sucks though, like to your point when you're really pulling on stuff and everything's heavy and all of those things. But
What
yeah,
about when it's not
shoot,
heavy?
it's
Yeah.
funny.
What about when it's just mentally daunting and then you walk over and you're just like,
Yeah,
what's that little go pull on this little wire right here, and then it falls out like right in front of them. And they were like with that for like 3 hours. And you come over and jank 2
But
connectors.
that's the same thing though that we've just been talking about, John.
Yeah.
That all comes with experience, right? Like
Yeah.
we like the 4 of us all know, like, we'll get on an electrical diag job, and you'll get to some points on electrical diag where you just have to turn around and walk,
Yeah, you're
and
too
then
close.
go get a
Yeah.
coffee. Go
Coffee.
sit in your truck, go listen to music, dude, just you gotta walk away from the job, and then you come back and you're like, "I did not see that." That broken wire that's 2.5 feet from the connector that you've missed for the past, like, 45 minutes, wondering why you got no power at your connector, right? So,
That's really good, Rich.
yeah,
What do you
100%.
think? What indicator that you're at that point?
when you
Because
start doing
we know
circles,
it when you're hitting it and you've done everything. Tax support, they're pointing you in the right
it's
direction.
when
When it doesn't make sense.
when it doesn't make sense and the tech starts doing this, they start running, they start going down their list of diag. They hit the same point, they go back to step one. They run down, they hit the same point, back to step one. And
Yeah.
My
then
favorite thing
you look at
is,
them and they're just you can
yeah,
see the smoke coming out their ears.
there's that one, and then there's not going in circles, But when you get spun and go in circles, I always like to go get your flow chart, get the symptom code, go back to 1. Show me exactly what you're talking about. Because it's funny because people interpret different and how they read yes or no, pass or fail, 1 to 10 or 10 to 20 is for some people is like it's just, I don't know. People think different and they're going to be the oddball too, but you could see where they steer wrong. Reading charts, reading a flow
The
chart.
best ones are when they have their meter set to AC and not DC.
You got to give them
No,
grace too.
you
When
know,
you come over and see that, you got to be like, you can't rip them a new one. You could. There's
I
a
laugh,
mental
dude.
way
I
to do
laugh
it.
because I'm like, dude,
It's like, hey, buddy, how you
you gotta
doing?
laugh.
Okay,
Be like,
yeah,
dude, you've been
let's
chasing
try
your
turning
tail
this
for the
on.
past 30 minutes.
When I was coming up, I had 2 foremen, and they loved whenever I'd make a mistake, whichever one was watching me, they'd pull me over to the other one. They'd be like, look what this guy did. And it would just be 5 minutes of
Come over here.
back and
Just
forth
chill
between the
them.
two.
Yeah. I think that segues over pretty good because I was thinking a lot about this. Like I've mentioned to you guys some of the old fellers that I work with, and they remind me a lot about Brent. I wish Brent was on here with us, but
Yeah,
they
for real,
remind
man.
me a lot of Brent
He's probably doing a
with his
serious shift right now.
mannerisms and things. Yeah, he's probably on day 37
He's
of
on
a
triple
60-day stretch.
overtime.
Soft hands.
He's cussing someone out right now.
I wish Brent was here because he can't defend himself. You ain't changed the water
You
pump.
know
and one with
he's
water to your chest.
Yeah, he's watching Tickety Talk on his shift.
Oh, he's
Yeah, I wish he was on here, but yeah, but it does segue nicely to, people that are outside of our industry don't realize that or that are really new to the industry. They don't realize that it's not that we're literally just trying to be mean to the person, but when you get a little bit of a rash about doing something like that, you never forget it. And that's the way our industry kind of is. It's not necessarily ideal maybe, but it
it's a
definitely
camaraderie.
the way it developed. Well, it developed in a way because it was like you don't want to make that mistake again. And so some people will beat themselves up, and that's good, I think. But at the same time, I think the reason why that developed in our industry over the time is because we don't want to mess up, and we don't want to see the other people that we work with mess up either. You know what I mean? It's our way of looking out for each other, I guess. Would you guys agree to that?
When you roast somebody,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a roast, you know what I mean? But especially something stupid, like
Well, how does
like
it?
a
What does
wiper
the saying
spinning
go?
upside down.
If I don't like you, I won't make fun of you.
Yeah. What's the old saying? The old saying is when people stop giving you hell, they've given up on you. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of that rings true in our industries, and maybe just blue collar in general, right? I seen a video a while back of a guy teaching. He was some type of construction situation, and it was a new hand, and the other guy was teaching him how to tie his work boots, right? And I thought that was pretty cool that he would do it anyway. But somebody, like an operator, was inside their cab and they were recording it happen, right? And the guy looked up and seen him happen, and he got embarrassed because he was tying the kid's shoes. But and I'm sure they gave him hell about that. You know what I mean? But
that was
hopefully
on the
he does it
job
again.
or
You
when
know
you
what I
were
mean?
serving.
He wouldn't. No, that was I just seen a video of it on TikTok or something, and I'll send it to you guys in our chat afterwards. But I thought it was pretty cool. But at the same time, I know that guy probably got a lot of hell for tying that kid's shoes. So I hope he it doesn't deter him from doing it. Doing it again with another new hand. Because I think we take for granted a lot of the little things that we know. Something as simple as tying your how to tie your boots so they don't come loose. You know what I mean? Like stupid stuff like that we take for granted. I feel like,
Easily driving.
You know how to tie your boots?
dude, I take a big breath and then I'll lean over and I start tightening. Speaking of that, I decided that a couple of days ago. I was telling my wife, I said I want a Garmin watch. She said, "What the hell you need a Garmin watch for?" I said, "Because your boy is about to go hard to paint." Because I said the other day I was trying to put my socks on and I was sitting at the kitchen table and I sat down, had my socks and my work boots on, my work boots, and I had to take a big breath so I could lean over and pull my socks on. And I said, "That's how I know I'm fat."
You need
The
the
Garmin watches
Get some
are really
Velcro.
good. I like mine.
Dude, yeah. I can't
No,
do it. I gotta have
the
8-inch lace ups. But what were you saying, Josh?
Oh, I like those watches. That's the one I use. They hold up well.
Yeah,
hold up
and
really
one of the
well.
guys, one of my guys, he has a Garmin watch. He loves that thing, and beats the crap out of it. I mean, he wears it all day at work, and
Yep.
it's he ain't broke one yet that I know of, and he's real big in fitness stuff and training for they call it SFE. It's a Special Forces Evaluation because he's in the Army National Guard, and I think he's in the National Guard. I don't know. I'll mess it up, and then he'll see this podcast and be mad at me for because it's not like reserves or nothing. I think it's National Guard. But anyway,
Rich, don't you rock one?
he's got that.
It's a digital. What
Is
it's
yours a Garmin too?
Yep. Mine's a
Okay.
Garmin Venue 2 Plus. So
I always see him
Okay,
flexing
cool.
with that.
So
I got,
yeah,
I got my wife.
I feel
a
like
Garmin
Richard's
too.
got like some bitchin' watches. He probably has a sick watch collection. I just got that feeling about Richard. He's
Well,
got
he's got a
sick watch
Lego
collection.
collection. He showed it to us.
No, I have a watch collection, but they're all watches. So
Well, are they watches that you like? You're sentimental towards? Like you had one when you were younger or something?
yep, yeah. I got a full watch collection. They're buried in a box underneath my stairs. I got a pipe
The Harry
collection.
Potter. Harry
Pipe
Potter.
collection, nice.
Yeah, dude. Hold on. Let's see.
Yes.
Like tobacco
I'll
pipes
show you.
or in general?
No, yeah, like tobacco pipes. I
Yeah.
got a full collection of tobacco pipes.
Oh, I like the little
Nice.
shorty, bud.
Which one's got bubbles?
I need you to rock that
Man,
on the
next
next sesh.
That's what I was gonna say. Next session, we got to do pipes and scotch or something.
Yeah, I got
Cigars
cigars and
pipes.
everything. So
You
it's
gotta do like Joe
it's the
Rogan.
worst. My wife hates it. So she
So do
she
you-
just hates.
You buy the tobacco in the giant packages.
Hold on. Where's right there?
Nice.
That
That's a
looks like shoe
connoisseur's
shine.
choice, bud. Put some
Look at that
respect on
Canadian
that.
logo.
It smells so good, dude. It smells so good. Like
Is
you
it-
got to open it up and everything.
Nice.
Oh
And
my god.
Fancy.
it's all like cut
Let me
inside.
What's it look like? Is it like cigarette tobacco kind of? It's like kind of
No, it's all.
It's a
let's
longer
see.
shred.
Hold on. Let me grab my
chunky
pouch here.
leaves.
I'll show you.
Let's see a pack. Pack one up for us, Rich.
Pack one
Pack
up
a
for
bowl with
us,
the
God
boys.
bless.
His health
So,
insurance
here's my
premium's
pouch.
going up by the minute.
So
Man,
it's
load us
like
a bowl, Richard.
here. Let's see. It's like
Richard,
this.
tell us
John.
some
It's
stories,
all-
man.
Yeah.
Man, classic. No, that's cool.
Well,
Oh my
the snow's
gosh.
finally melted away. He could actually go outside.
Sit on the back porch, man.
So I was going to tell you
Sometimes.
guys. So there's been a bunch of new people have moved to Alberta, and they're taking photos of all our reservoirs because they're all like mud right now. Because we still have a ton of snow up in the mountains, and I'm close enough to the mountains that if we start getting a lot of like rainfall and a lot of like snapped hot weather, what'll happen is all the snowpack melts and floods the rivers, and then it runs downstream and hits the reservoirs and breaks over top of all the dams. So all these people who are new to Alberta are like, there's no water in the reservoir. It's like, yeah, because there's still a ton of snow in the mountains, people. Like, happens every year.
You mean water
Why?
runs downhill?
Why did people move there?
Cheaper taxes than Ontario.
Wild.
Yeah.
49%.
It's like moving from like Seattle, Washington to California. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be the other way.
No,
That's the
Other
other
way.
way. Yeah, I think it's the other way.
California's got some California
To
taxes
Texas,
are
I
the
mean,
same as
from
New
New
York,
Washington
Alberta.
to
California's
Texas.
got to be the highest. Come to the south,
Yeah.
brother.
Well, New
California.
York would be now with what's his nuts in power.
Mandabi.
What's
or
the mayor
what's
of
his
New
name?
York's name now?
Something
Yeah.
Mandabi or something like that.
Yeah, New York's all
Boy.
the rich people are leaving New York.
Here comes the danger zone.
The danger zone.
My
Yeah, we'll have to digress from the danger zone.
Fly away.
Fly away. Fly
The
away.
same reason why people left California and they all went to like Texas and Louisiana and Georgia.
Florida.
And
way
Florida.
way lower
Yeah.
taxes.
I started laughing at my buddies because
Didn't-
they were like complaining about this mega highway they're building here. It's pretty badass. It's like a sick arch. It's going to change the skyline kind of, but it's like who knows, $90 billion project or something like that. And they're behind schedule. They're flipping out about this is what our taxpayer dollars go to. I was like, dude, you don't even know what it's like to pay taxes, bro. Florida, this is like a joke. There's barely any. You pay federal tax. That's it, man. I was like, try living in New York, try living in Cali, try living in Canada, any of those. It's an absolute joke, bro.
Didn't New York send somebody down to Fort Lauderdale and was like, you all got to go back to New York because we missed all your money.
Yeah, it's hilarious, bro. I used to make fun of people that moved to Florida from New York, and now I'm like one of them.
Now you're one of them.
I'm like, just shut up and go to Florida. Tap out, go to Florida. I'm like, oh, I get it now. This is
The heat's one thing, but damn that humidity. I mean, I know when it hits
fucked up.
when it hits 30 degrees Celsius up here, it's just like you drag your ass. It's so hard to work in the heat.
Yeah, it's intense. Yeah, I commit to it though. The worst I think I've been in was Panama or Central America during summer there.
Humidity
I-
would just be disgusting.
Yeah, I literally hit like the dehydrate. Like I was real close to dehydrating, like passing out. The like the same time you drink the water, it's like coming out of your skin.
That's gross.
You just got a bunch of holes.
Straight up leaking.
Well, do we got any burning desires before we kind of conclude our set? Anybody got anything
Burning
that they're
fires.
thinking about while we're
What
that
do you
we
think
can record?
qualifies?
None can be recorded.
I think I got one for John is how are you gonna figure out your owner's goal or vision of where he wants to see you and that shop go?
It's a really good question.
Hey, Chat GBT.
Hey, ChatGPT.
I've always, it's cool because he's the visionary style. Like him and his partner is his wife. So she's the more analytical. He's the risk taker. And it's cool because he has, like, I could see of like how they built out the building and had renderings of big game projects. Now he's also like in his 60s. So I do know that he's still like corners the market in that industry, in that niche. But to find out what really drives him and what he puts me around other people that kind of like the people in his circle, which is cool, other owners, other operators. And, he says, do like this and be like this. And some of them I see him like, we're better than these people in a lot of ways. So I'm always wondering like where it's going. Ultimately, I'm pretty sure I haven't figured out. He's like, because anytime I want to build something and make it, he's like, I don't give a shit as long as it makes money. So I'm like, that's cool and all. It's scary because, if you want to scale something, there has to be some kind of structure to it. It's kind of cool because it could make it what I want at the end of the day. And I've been on those levels, so I know what it's like to operate. But also when he's like, I don't care as long as it makes
So-
money. It's like, it's kind of like, if you're chasing money, the money
Not a
will
lot
run.
of direction though.
It's not.
It's
You
not a
know?
lot of. It's not a lot of. It's not a lot of direction though, John, because it's like
Yeah.
I
No.
think to Richard's point, it's like for instance, right? Like when I talk to my management team at a high level, and we're talking about like what direction do we want to go, right? The vision is that we grow aggressively, right? And then that we have a new store in this place by this time frame.
Yeah.
And then we want to have a store in this place by this time frame. And so once we have a framework of what the vision is from them, then next manager down will say, okay, well, I want to implement these things in order to get us into that vision. And then by the time it trickles down to a guy like me, I've heard 3 steps of the vision, and then I create my own vision. And then that vision is in line. It's aligned with all of those other 2 or 3 visions. And so like my goals are to hire a tech every single month for the rest of the year. I have some sales goals that I want to get, but I also have like, I have 2 techs that I want to promote into leadership roles. And so I have all of these little goals and things lined out so that all of those things will come to fruition, because that's my vision of how my little part of the business runs. And I think is that more along the lines, kind of, Richard, what you were kind of thinking?
Yeah, like you said, it's one thing for your owner to be like, yeah, just make me a ton of money, but it's like, okay, well, how much? How much can I spend to get where we're gonna go? Like what dollar amount are you looking at?
Yeah.
What kind of expenses are we looking at? How bad are, like, you have access to the financials, right?
Well,
So
that's about
from
to turn.
there, like
That's literally about to
well,
turn.
that's good
Yeah.
though. That
Yeah.
then now you're gonna be able to see like where you're bleeding money from, what what's costing you, what you can start cutting out, and what you can do from there. Hell, even you can look at it and turn to your guys and be like, hey, you know what, you're worth X amount of dollars. We're charging this for our door rate. I want to bump my guys, and then you can go ahead and do it, right? So, but that's like it's one thing for your owner to say like, oh, just make me a ton of money. Well, how? I can make you a ton of money. I can go out and drive onto the Keys and pick packages out of the ocean for you and make you a ton of money. But, it's going to be the wrong way, right?
What type of
How does he want?
what type of
He's got to
questions?
give you a framework, John.
Yeah. No, because that's cool. Because I'm
Yeah.
I'd like to make it my own, and us in our position, we should be able to do that. But you do need something to grasp onto, and something higher that you're like,
Right.
all right, once I hit this,
He's got the vision part is like the guardrails and the framework at that level. He's got to give you some of that, right? Like, hey, this
yeah,
is the direction I want us to go. This is the framework and the bones of that. And then that gives you at a GM type level the ability to have your own vision that is aligned with that with some key components. And then the next level down from you, they do the same thing as I described. They have their vision that's aligned with yours. And then that's all of it is driving in that one direction. Because that's what Richard has and that's what I have. They give us
yeah.
guardrails like, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And then they give us the freedom to have our own alignment, right? And put our own goals in place and create our own little vision that is aligned with theirs so that we can drive the business in the direction that they're wanting it to go. Does
What
that
do you
make sense?
think are, if you ask like what certain questions, do you think there's red flags in something they would say, or like you don't know, or if he just says
Yeah,
make a lot of money?
you just said one
Easiest
right
thing,
there, like, just go go make me a ton of money. It's like, okay, well,
so
how
that's
do
on
you
me to
wanna go
ask.
about that?
Yeah, so that would also be a good
It
point
is.
on me to ask, how much money do we want to make?
Yeah. Like, what
That's like
financial goal what financial goals does he want for that year,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, how much fiscal risk does he wanna put out there? Because a lot of the times, some of these ownerships, and I've worked for them where they don't understand, you gotta pay to play sometimes, and there's some risk and reward, and sometimes there's high risk, high reward, high risk, low reward, right? So, you gotta get the guidelines from them. Like, if he just says, "Oh, make me a ton of money," how much? What do you call a ton of money?
Yeah, and honestly, John, all of our owners wanna make a ton of money, right?
For sure.
So, like, that's all of their goal, right? That's all of their goals. We all wanna make a ton of money, right? So, but we still need the guardrails and the bones have to keep passing down as that vision from leader to leader until it trickles to our particular position. Even if it goes all the way to the technician, like even like with Josh and his situation with his used car, where like they had bones of a vision that they wanted the direction for that to go. And then they gave him the freedom within guardrails like, hey, you can't do this and you can't do this. Anything in between to get us to here, we're good with. And then they let him go and put and run with it, right? That's what you need from your ownership is like, hey, we can't do this and we can't do this. And this is where we want to be. And then that gives you the opportunity to say, okay, here's my low hanging fruit and then start placing in goals and people in place to get to those, that's your vision when you're starting like, okay, well, now you start putting all this plan in effect that's going to get there, that's your part of the vision. So you're aligning yourself with what their goals are and you're saying, okay, I got to do this and this and this and this. There's some low hanging fruit here, and that's, what, but that part will be on you. Once he gives you the guardrails and where we're going, you've got to have that though. You can't,
I think for a while it was probably
you know
my
what I mean?
GM's vision, because he's directly under the owner and I'm directly under him, which makes more sense to what you guys are saying.
Right. Yeah, because the old GM he had guardrails already, and he had a direction where the ownership wanted to go at that point in time, right?
Or it was just
And
straight up
and
his
now you've
direction.
kind of yeah, and now you've
It should be.
and maybe they gave him the freedom to create all of that, and maybe they did, but
Yeah.
maybe I think you probably need some guardrails. Like, hey, this is what you need. Where do you see us going? Where are we trying to go? What are we
It'd
trying to
also be
do?
nice to know what to focus on.
Well, and that'll be up to you to choose. Once he gives you those guardrails, then you'll know what what your abilities are going to be. You know what I
I
mean?
just
The
got an
scope of what
email.
you're
I got
capable
an
with.
email that I got to tap in and do payroll.
Nice.
Dude, why didn't you get that payroll done already? Jeez, come on now.
Yeah, you're.
Yeah, I don't
Didn't you
even
know
think
you're
my
supposed
owner
to do
knows.
that, John?
I don't think my owner knows that I gave everybody a day off tomorrow.
Ask for
I'm
forgiveness,
pretty
not
sure they
permission, they
still think
say.
everybody's working.
Well, hey,
HR
you got to
said,
have guardrails. He ain't giving you none yet.
yeah, sorry, I didn't know.
You know?
I got the credit card. I didn't know how much. Is that bad?
Yeah, he's got to give you some guardrails. I think.
Well, he's going to be putting some rails in, that's for sure.
That's for
I mean,
damn
it can't
sure.
be the Wild West.
So, but one quick question about that then, John. Do you know how much you can spend before it's a capital asset?
I haven't hit the mark where it's been yelled at. But But to you guys' points, no, and I would love to know that. It's never been like there
So
should be
that's one of the
a set
questions you can
number.
ask him. You know, what
What can I spend here?
what can I spend before it's classified as a capital asset for the company,
Yeah.
right? And then you can take that capital asset and write that down on the company value every year, right? So
What kind of what
that these are the things that you're gonna. Hey,
major major capital asset is in a lump sum of money that you could spend, or it's
no,
an item, a one
it's
singular item.
it's per purchase, right?
Yeah.
It's so like for instance, like
A
so
truck.
we can spend up to $1,000 without getting like $1,000 per transaction without having to get my service manager involved, right? So, but anything that's kind of above that like $1,000, she needs to sign off on it. And then if it's anything over 2 grand, we got to get it signed off from our GM. And then from there, the like for instance, say tomorrow I tell him I'm like, we need a new hoist, and that's whatever 17 to 20 grand or whatever the hell it is for a new hoist. That would go in for a capital asset application. And then when we purchase it, that amount would then get written off. It wouldn't get written off in one full year because then that would just destroy your profit margin, but that can get written off over the year. So then you're only losing like $1,000 a month, or you're losing $500 a month or something like that. And then the asset's paid off, right? So
You'll hear that term, John, CapEx,
yeah.
capital expenditure. So sometimes, like if we're in our financial mentorship stuff with Ray, he may call it a CapEx, and a CapEx is like what Richard described is something that typically over $5,000 purchase, and it's something that we depreciate over time.
At least
Up
at
to a
least you're
certain
a
amount of
boat dealer,
years
not a
too.
car dealer, because you can go into there's a whole thing with like demo fleets and like that, and writing down demo fleets and then turning them around and selling them to customers. And that's a whole
They're
nightmare thing.
dabbling. They're dabbling. We did the first loaner this year. We did it 2 or 3 times, like super high. There's only been a couple people that's actually gotten a loaner. And we have demo boats that they run, they hour up, then they sell for depreciated, which is good. But we had a few clients that are
But so
super like plugged in where the point where when their ship broke, we gave them another boat to use.
but see, you're allowed to write that off. Like so you can
Depreciated.
turn around and bill your service department, right? And then that depreciation is written off.
So check it out. I put it in as the first time ever. We did it as a warranty claim,
Yeah.
and they paid us out on warranty.
So and that's you. So you should be writing down like a list of questions you have for him. Like start with the simple ones, like how do I do payroll? How do I do payroll right so the guys aren't turning around and threatening to walk off the job because I put the decimal place in the wrong point when I was cutting checks.
Writers, I don't know. I got to figure out their commission plans. Most of the guys are hourly and flat, which is easy. I just submit those numbers to my accounting department. But the commission, I got to figure out what they're getting paid.
I think for the pay plans, John, just like your GM, or not your GM, your owner gave you great direction. Just say, go make me a buttload of money and let him run.
Make this right. Words to live
Well,
by.
yeah.
It worked on
I was
me.
thinking, so how about this one? So you're working at a place, right? You've been there for a couple of years, and how far do you let it go before you're like, hey, I gotta cut bait, right? I gotta drag up because because I always feel like you go have a conversation, and with the management team, you're like, hey, this stuff is frustrating for me. It's got to the point where like I'm thinking maybe I should go find somewhere else. We're going in a different direction. The business is going this way, and I'm like, I'm not aligned with what you guys are doing anymore. So I like to go have that conversation first, and then give it an opportunity for them to maybe they didn't notice that they were. I don't know. I give them opportunity to kind of steer the ship in a direction that's where we kind of come back to more of an alignment. And I might even do that a couple of times, and then I'm done with it, and I'm going to be looking. That's kind of how I look at that, and and then I always try to break clean. You know what I mean? Like I always try to have a clean leave where I do my best. That you never really know what's going to happen, and so I always try to leave as clean as possible, so that way I'm still on good terms or whatever. I do my best to do that, but sometimes it's unavoidable and it's a crash and burn. But you do I always do my best to try to leave clean, but Richard, what's your breaking point when you're at you're talking, a new kid comes to you and he's asking you like, "Hey man, I've been working over here at the Mercedes and dude, I need some advice. Like when should I call it?"
Well, I'm much like you. I'll take my beatings and keep on running. Like, especially especially with the alignment thing, like I'll try and coach, like manage from the middle as best as I can and like pitch my ideas and stuff like that. But there's only so many times you can get told like no until you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like my input isn't there anymore. Management, no, if you have good management, they'll notice that, and they'll come to you, and then you can have an honest conversation about them where you're not seeing eye to eye with them anymore. Everything feels like a battle. You come into work and your guards your back's immediately up because they're harping on you for something because I know you're like me where you end up in a position where you're the go-to person, right? They're always coming to you for something, and that wears on you. But, like I said, I'll put up with a ton, but my breaking point is when they with my money. And that's really like, I'll put up with a ton and, I might piss and moan and gripe and everything like that. But the moment you screw with my pay, that's when I'm out the door. Right. It's just even if it's a hypothetical, it means that even if it's a hypothetical, they're like, oh, well, we're thinking about doing this. It's like, no, you want to do that, but you're putting it past me to see what my reaction is. And my reaction most of the time is like, yeah, cool, whatever. I'm flat rate. I can just make more money. Right. That was my attitude before. It was like, yeah, I'm flat rate. Whatever. I'll just turn more hours. I don't care. Go ahead. Do whatever the hell you want to do. And meanwhile, I'm like on Indeed and on LinkedIn and networking and everything like that. And I come in the next day, I'm like, here's my 2 weeks. See you guys later. So that's my breaking point is I'll put up with a ton of before like, vision can get realigned and stuff like that. And good management will be open to ideas and want to push forward, and they'll see your frustration and want to kind of bring everybody back on board. But yeah, the moment any employer has ever screwed with my money, I'm out the door. That's my hard line in the sand.
Yeah.
You can screw with everything else. You can, oh, you need to work 14-hour days. We're going to change the schedule to this. We're going to change this.
Gotta work
We're
Saturdays.
gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna do that. Yeah, you got to work Saturday. We're gonna do, you got to work overtime. We're not paying you for it, but you can get more hours and stuff like that. It's like, cool. You know what? I'll make more money. But the moment they turn around and they're like, oh yeah, we shorted you. We shorted you 14 hours on a job here, or we backclawed this, or that job that you finished didn't fall or fell in like the middle of the pay period, and you're only getting paid 10 hours this pay period.
Yeah. Class.
Don't worry, we'll catch you on the next one. And you're like, no, like that's not how it works. And
Yeah. You'll
yeah,
catch me right now walking out the
yeah.
door.
Funny, I've
But
had
yeah,
that
that's
same
that's my
exact.
breaking point.
I had that conversation with my wife recently, and that was the one thing where it was like, well, if they're changing your pay, she already said, she's like, you can't work there, and I was like, that would be the spot where if something did change, that's probably the only reason why
Right.
it kind of like homey. It's not as much as comfortable. It's it still gives me what I can do, and you live your life around that. So as soon as they do something to jeopardize your life or what you're living, your family, then it's time to go on to something else. But I do know that
Yeah. It's like,
amongst that is your core values, and your core values is probably one of the biggest indicators of what you're doing and where you're going with anything in life, whether it's a job, a relationship, a new business adventure, or something you're going into. If it doesn't align with your core values, those are usually just straight up, and a lot of people go their whole life without knowing them, and which is why you could see a lot of upset or frustration in certain situations, or they get themselves into situations over again, is because they haven't take the time to realize what really means or what's special to them. And when you're feeling some type of way about something, it's every time you're feeling some type of way, it's because something is not aligning with your inner being. And for you to know that stuff is so crucial at our stage in our life. So that could be really one of the biggest things that would help you determine what path you're going to be on or who you're going to be around.
I think like I would add also like for me, like since we're talking a little bit about the money side of things, like the to pay ratio has got to be like cannot supersede the pay
Nah,
ratio,
no way.
right? Like they can get close and even out even, but like once the ratio surpasses the pay ratio,
Then you don't
that's
need
where
that.
it's, I got to get some more money to deal with. Like, dude, I can deal with a lot of shit. I'm getting paid right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was kind of Richard's point. Like, dude, as long
You're a
as you're
strong
paying me,
man.
dude, you can do
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm getting paid, I can handle some shenanigans. So, Josh, so you're a guy reaches out to you on LinkedIn. He says, "Hey, man, I've been going through this and this and this, and like, when should I call it quits?" Young cat. What do you say to him?
Every time for me has always been just a gut feeling. You just know when
Right.
it's your time.
So if he's asking you on LinkedIn, he probably already knows, right? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. That's usually the answer to most questions. When people come to you, they're looking for the answer
validation.
they already have. And so
They want
for
your
me, it's always been you already
blessing.
know the answer. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I'll say that I disagree with it, and sometimes I'll say I agree with it. But at the end of the day, I always tell them that they already know the answer. They just want me to tell them, you know.
That goes with a
Yeah,
lot of things.
I
It
think
might
that's
not
pretty,
just be
yeah, that's a pretty fair answer.
I guess a job is like a relationship. So when people are like asking you, well, what do you think? You think I should stay with this girl? Like, bro, you know, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what are you asking me? Like, I'm
A
not dating
bro,
her.
heavily abusive one.
dude, that just reminded me of like you. I think we've all had, and maybe it's happened to ourselves, but we've all had a buddy or whatever, and we know as the girl he's dating is messing around on him, and you're like, bro, like you got to get away from her, man. And you're trying to be sweet about it. You're not trying to like tell him straight up, but you're like, bro, she's not good for you. This, that, and the other. And they don't see it, right? They don't see it. And then finally it happens and then they break up. He's like, "Bro, I found out she was messing around." I'm like, "Bro, I've been trying to tell you." And then and it all comes to fruition and they're like, "Man, I feel so much better, this, that, and the other." And you're right. It's just like that's back to that ratio, right? The value of the relationship supersedes the value of the relationship, then it's time to
And the
break
thing
it off,
about
I think,
relationships is that humans are creatures of like habitat. They find a way to get comfortable where they are. Like it's like, yeah, I think it's a creature of habitat. So people will be in the
You have something, Richard?
relationship ever, dude, because the both of them are scared to tell each other off or to say, "Hey, this ain't me." So you could easily be in a place that you don't like. You could survive. Like animals live in the space on the ground. They're like, "I don't like it here," and they'd rather complain every single day that they don't like it here than they go somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like that, Josh. It's like, they're just trying to get some validation, like, "Hey, is this a good thing to do? Should I dip?" You know what I'm saying? Like, they
Every
know
yeah,
they know
everyone
what
knows.
what to do, right?
Everyone already has that feeling, and a lot of people ignore it, in my experience. And when you ignore it, it usually has its own consequences.
Yeah, 100%. You gotta stick with your spidey senses, my spidey senses never let me like, dude, I've looked back at some of the moves I've made, and, like, every one of 'em's been perfectly dead on, and I'm same as you, like, I was kinda listening to that spidey senses, like, "Bro, this isn't this isn't going a very good direction, and, like, things aren't going the way they should be, or something is not right," and you're like, "Dude, I gotta get the hell out of here." So, it's that fight or flight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, like I said, I've just learned to trust myself a lot on that stuff. And it takes a while to hear it, though. It doesn't come, I don't think it comes naturally.
No, you
And I
gotta
think we ignore it a lot when we're younger, too.
Yeah, you gotta learn,
You
same
got to go through
same as
that.
like what we were talking about with the young cats and endurance and all of that.
You go through that on a smaller
You gotta
level, I
find it out.
think. For you to have those little indicators or
Well,
sensors that are like, "Hey, this is something's wrong here." You went through something else that had a you failed and you got beat out on. It could have been any other thing. But B, next time around, you kind of see it's like you're more knowledge, you're more aware. So this goes the same thing with opportunity. The same thing with something bad is going to happen. You know what's going down when something bad's about to happen. You start seeing things around you like, yo, I got to get out of here. So when there's
Did you
some
have
kind of
something, Richard?
opportunity, yeah,
yeah, the only like to Josh's point when or to even your point, Marshall, where people reach out to you, a lot of the times I found that when people reach out to me, they're like, "Man, should I leave here?" And you're like, "Yes, you should leave there." But again, it's like your buddy, right? Like you've told them time and time again that that place is you need to leave there. Like everything's going sideways. They text you and it's just to like piss and moan, and you tell them like, "Dude, you got to go." Like it's time for you to pack your leave, and then they get all like they're all uncertain in their themselves and their own skill set, and they're just like, "No, man, I got a good thing going here, I can come into work, I can do my 9 to 5, and it's like, yeah, but you're getting fed the entire time, like,
Yeah, fucking steak
the
sandwich.
a lot of people's like, I think all 4 of us have a good sense of where our the pay meter is, and we know when we're hitting that even keel, and we're like, "Eh," and then they come, they throw a couple more bucks at you, and you're like, "Okay, I can handle it for a little longer," and then the just skyrockets, right? But a lot
Yeah.
of people they're just like, no, they'll just keep eating that sandwich, and they'll be like, this is
It is
delicious,
pretty
and
good.
they'll big smile on their face and just keep eating, right?
My
So
one,
some
my
people just
favorite.
can't see past it, right? Or their confidence is just smashing out the window, and they don't understand that, you know, you can walk out the door tomorrow and have a job before the
Yeah.
day's over.
Yeah, Richard, you're a good looking guy, man. You can go get there's plenty of fish in the sea, man. You don't gotta put up with the shenanigans, you know?
So there's two things that I could draw out of
100%.
that. One is people like you were saying, you could tell someone they're in a bad relationship or you see in the writing on the wall, but they need to see it on their own. It's the same thing with learning or mentorship. You can't what's the term? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So you could want him to win, you could want
Yeah.
him to do everything, but if he doesn't want to learn or to grow, he ain't gonna do it. It's the same thing with anything else. Or oblivious or no, like you said, I got a good thing. This is all good. You're like, no, man, because you can see the writing on the wall. You've been maybe in that situation, or you just have that perspective. My other favorite thing is when you do leave, you get to find out what your real value is to that person or business. Because when you're walking out the door, you put the 2 weeks in, boom, all of a sudden you're getting a raise, right? So it's like, and you can see
Mhm.
how much. Hey, usually you find out how much you're worth real quick. It's kind of like it's cool, but it's also a slap in the face, because it's like, hey, here's $5 more to stay here. It's like, man, all right, cool. I'm actually worth that. But then it's like, yo, you could have been paying me that the whole fucking time, dude. And now all of a sudden, just because I'm trying to leave, that's what you want to pay me. That's what I'm really worth to you now, is because I'm out the door, pretty much. So that's kind of like you get your little what you're worth, and then you also get that little slap in the face.
Oh, you're muted, Marshall. Well, yeah, yeah, his mic might have died. The other problem too, though, is change is a bitch, and a lot of people are terrified of change,
Oh yeah,
right? So
scared to
Can you
that
death.
hear me?
can be
There I am.
that can be a huge thing too. Fear is a big driver, and fear is a big catalyst, right? Like if they don't have the confidence, confidence is a big thing, and believing in yourself is a big thing. And if you don't have those, and you're getting treated like shit, and you can only deal with it for so long, that's you'll keep eating the shit until you
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 kind of
get that
attracted it.
confidence
You
to
kind of
to make
attracted it at one
right?
point.
Because change is scary.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mic type. Had swapped to the secondary. Well, we've been rolling for an hour and 28 minutes.
maybe 2
I
almost.
think we
Yeah.
can probably I think we've got enough for him to chop some stuff up for old JT. And
Hopefully
I was
y'all are.
planning to
Hopefully everything
yeah, I
we
was
got was
hoping for us to get
quality,
together next Sunday
sound,
too.
lights, visual, all that stuff.
I love how he talks right as you talk.
I know.
It's
I
beautiful.
know. It's because he's got that lag
I know,
over there in
it's
the
beautiful.
thing over there. Well, here, I got us a closer here. For Josh Arnold, it's day 362. And if you guys are interested, The Book of Mysteries by Jonathan Kahn. Pretty cool if you're into religious type stuff, but it's kind of it's got some pretty cool leadership type stuff in it as well, which I like. It's a lot of kind of like, what am I looking for here, Josh? It's like,
It'll
It's
jazz you up.
it's mentorship, and it involves a student and a teacher. I think it fits well because it shows both sides.
yeah, and it's like in the Gospels, there's all of the different. God bless, I'm spacing off the word for it, but anyway, it's like a lesson, So I'll read it off quick, and we'll wrap it up. So the teacher led me to the chamber of books and removed from one of the shelves a large, ancient-looking book in a brown binding. Looking through it, he said, "Look through it," he said. So I did. How long do you think it would take you to learn everything that's in this book in depth? In depth, maybe 3 months. And what about all the books on the shelf? There were many books. I did the calculation in my head. Maybe 10 years, I replied. And how long to learn what's in every volume in this bookcase? I would guess 80 years. Now look at all the bookcases in this chamber. How long do you think it would take you to learn everything that's inside every one of these volumes? Many lifetimes, I said. Do you know why God gives us eternity? Why? because the purpose of our existence is to know God. I don't understand. Eternity is the time it takes to know God. So never make the mistake of thinking that you know everything there is to know about Him. It's when you think you know that you stop knowing. And if it takes an eternity to know God, then how much is a lifetime of knowledge next to how much there is yet to know? One eternity, he said, or one infinity next to nothing. I think that part was pretty funny. No matter how much you know, there will always be more. There will always be more. No matter how much you know of Him, you've only just begun. And that's how you must always come, as one who doesn't know the half of it, which will always mathematically be the case. So you must come as a child, as one who knows there is so much more to know, and for whom everything is new. Even the Apostle Paul, who knew more of God than anyone else, even he wrote, that I might know Him. If he could say that, how much more, I don't know why it's kind of written kind of jacked up there, how much more we. So never stop seeking Him, never stop pressing on to know Him and to know more of Him. And then more than that, for eternity is the length of time it takes to know Him. And a lifetime is just the beginning of eternity. No more, never know it all. So continuous, constant improvement.
John has just joined the chat.
Join back in right after we finished out.
My phone overheated.